housing crisis is an issue that never seems to go away. If you are someone who's trying to get on the property ladder, especially in Dublin, you will know how difficult it is. For example, today we were looking that a 3-bedroomed house in Sandyford could set you back over €400,000. A 2-bedroom house in Swords, over €300,000. The point is, Dublin has become too unaffordable. So should people just get over their obsession with wanting to live in the capital in the same area that they grew up near their parents? Should Dubs looking to buy a house resign themselves to the fact that they will never live in Dublin? And if they want to get on the ladder, they'll need to move away from the capital, head off down to Wexford or up to Cavan or down to Mullingar. Well, this is what Gareth believes. I want you to have a listen to a message that a guy called Gareth sent us. And he sent this on our Facebook page yesterday. And you can do the same, by the way. All you have to do is send us a message, a private message through our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. Anyway, have a listen to what Gareth wrote to us yesterday. He says, lads, I don't know if you've brought up this topic before, but I am sick to death of hearing about people moaning that they will never own a house in Dublin. What is their obsession with wanting to live in Dublin? Of course, houses are going to be expensive in Dublin. If you want to get on the property ladder, you need to move further afield. But these people want to live beside their mothers and beside where they grew up and went to school. They are living in dream world, he says. I was born and bred in Knocklion. There's not a hope I could afford a house there. So me and my girlfriend bought a lovely 3-bed in Gorey in County Wexford. It's a bit of a drive to Dublin for work, but at least we own our own house. Instead of moaning that we can't afford a house in Dublin, we just moved. And that's from a guy called Gareth. And that's one of the conversations that we want to have today, and we'd like to get you involved. Do you think that people should have the right to live near where they grew up? So if they grew up in Dublin, should they have a right to live in Dublin? Now, a lot of people believe that you should have a right to live where you grew up. If you grew up in Tullamore in County Offaly and that's where your heart and home is, it's very easy for you to stay living in Tullamore in County Offaly because property prices aren't through the roof. Where if you were born and bred in any part of Dublin, you'd want to be on a serious wage to be able to afford to live in Dublin. We would love to get you involved in this conversation. All you have to do is send us a WhatsApp to 085 825 2626. That's 085 825 2626. Jeremy, what do you think? What is your opinion? Okay. Oh, sorry, there you go.
Now, I've been paying attention to Gareth's message that he sent us on Facebook. Okay, so let's get a bit of perspective on this. So Gareth was born and bred in Knocklion, lovely part of South County, Dublin. And to buy we've been looking up different property prices. So to buy a 3-bedroomed house that Gareth would want in the area in which he grew up, okay? So I have a lovely 3-bedroomed house here in Knocklion, and it's costing, what is it, $465. Okay, so let's just write that down. Yep,
yeah, it's a lot of money. $465.
Now your repayments on that every month will be
a lot,
wouldn't they? For a 3-bedroomed house in Gorey, which is where he moved to, there is a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms house in Gorey for, guess how much?
How much?
235.
Oh, right. That's a big difference.
So let's just do the maths there and see how much cheaper it was. God, I'm terrible at maths. 3 from 6 is 3. 230 grand cheaper. So he got a house, the exact same, and I'm looking at both houses here. Both houses are very, look, that's a beautiful house.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Gorey.
Yeah, that is nice.
And, very similar size houses. But by moving to Gorey, he's after saving 230,000. Now, the chances are, I don't know your situation, Gareth, but the chances are you weren't going to get a mortgage from a bank for 465 grand. If myself and my wife went into a bank tomorrow and said, can we take out a mortgage for 465?
They'd laugh you out the door.
They wouldn't even let me in the door. So the point is that Gareth now has a house the exact same size as he wanted. It's in Gorey, County Wexford. It's a bit further away from he grew up. But he managed to get on the property ladder for quite a substantial price. So it is possible. My opinion on this is, and I'm coming from a very lucky position because I live not far from where I grew up. I am this person. I live not far from where I went to school, where I grew up, where all my friends are. I'm 10 minutes away from my mother's house. I'm 20 minutes away from my mother-in-law's house. I'm right beside the M50. I'm in it. Where I live is great, but where we live isn't that big. So you have to kind of weigh up the options.
In other words, your house isn't that big.
But
I've always described your house as a kennel.
I've always taken grave offence to that, by the way.
So you live in a little dog box.
Kennels are much cleaner than my house.
Yeah, you live in a little dog box.
I was just thought it's not that small. But it's near where all the things we wanted. And when we were looking at different places, for the price we paid for our place, we could have got not a mansion, but we could have got a huge house down in somewhere like Newbridge or Nace or Gorey or something like that. But we chose the option of wanting to live near where everything was. So you can't have everything is the bottom line. And there is...
Well, okay, I would argue with you that...
No, you can't.
But I just gave the example. If you grew up in Tullamore in County Offaly, lovely town, yeah, and your family are there, your mum and dad are there, you can easily afford to live in Tullamore in County Offaly going forward, yeah?
No, maybe not, because the wages in
it depends on what you're working at. You could be working remotely and earning a fortune.
No, but generally the wages in... regional Ireland are a lot worse. I mean, my wife at one stage, she checked for her particular job that she has, she checked if she was to move to Westmeath or if she was to move to Galway or Wexford, and the wages were a lot less. So it's all relative when you think about it. And yes, people...
But I don't think it's an unrealistic expectation that you live where you grew up. I really don't.
Well, if that happens to be Dublin, it's not going to happen. So if you grew up in a nice house in Sandyford, and that's where your family still live, and you love Sandyford, and you love everything around it, and you love the fact that Marley Park is on your doorstep, forget about it, as they say. It's not going to happen because that's just the way it is. Property is ridiculous in Dublin. It's like that in every country in the world. Dublin is not unique. How many people do you think work a normal job 9 to 5 and live in Manhattan?
No, they commute into Manhattan. I take the point.
Who can afford to live in Manhattan?
All right, we would like to hear from you on this. Basically, what this guy Gareth is saying is that he believes that he believes people should give up on their obsession with wanting to live in Dublin. I'll read his message again if you will bear with me. He says, lads, I know you've brought up this topic before, but I'm sick to death of hearing about people moaning that they will never own a house in Dublin. What is their obsession with wanting to live in Dublin? Of course, houses are going to be expensive in the city. If you want to get on the property ladder, you need to move further afield. But these people want to live beside their mothers and beside where they grew up and went to school. They are living in dream world. I was born and bred in Knocklion. There's not a hope I could afford a house there, so me and my girlfriend bought a lovely 3-bed in Gorey. It's a bit of a drive to Dublin for work, but at least we own a house now. Instead of moaning that we can't afford a house in Dublin, we just moved. And we would love to hear from you. Send us a WhatsApp to 085 825 2626. Do you think... And in fact, we'll run a very quick WhatsApp poll and ask this question. Do you think people should have a right to live close to where they grew up? That's the question that I'm asking. Okay?
A right? No,
a right. Yeah.
That's like saying...
Yeah, a right.
No, stop for a second. You're being silly.
I'm not being silly.
You are.
Should people have a right to live near where they grew up?
That's like saying, should Jeremy have a right to own a Ferrari car?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
So ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
Ridiculous comparison.
No, it's not. Should Jeremy, if you can afford to live in Dublin, then you have a right to live in Dublin. But to say, should somebody have a right? So what? If you were born and bred in Dublin, you should just be given a knockdown price on a property. So when you go, so I was born and bred in Dublin, or in Milltown, So if I see a house going in Milltown, that's 600 grand, I should be able to go up and go, here, but listen, I grew up around the corner. No bother, Jeremy. Jesus, I remember you from the road.
No, I'm not talking about
300 grand.
I'm talking about being able to live close to where you grew up.
You're talking to your arse, if you pardon me, because...
085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. We would love to hear from you on this and find out whether or not you think you should be entitled to live, not even in the same county. Maybe not in the... in the same estate, but the same county. 085 825 2626. Alan, you're on Opinions Matter. How are you, Alan?
How are you doing, Adrian? Hi, Jeremy. I was going to say good morning, but you guys had a lie-in this morning.
We had a lie-in today, yeah.
That's hilarious.
It is. Alan, do you think people have a right to live at least in the same county?
Not a right, Adrian, to be honest.
Okay, maybe a right is the wrong word, but if your entire life is in a certain area or a certain part of a certain county, surely you should have a right to remain living there because that's what your whole life circulates around.
Oh, no, I agree with that, most certainly, but this is a very unusual situation for me. I find myself in total agreement with Jeremy. That's really annoying me.
That has to be fairly annoying, yeah.
But really, I'll give you a little bit of background about me, right? I'm 56 and I live in Clontarf, in the north side of Dublin, which is a very nice area. I copped on to the fact 30 odd years ago in my mid-20s, I am never going to be able to afford a house around here. Not unless I meet a significant partner and we both have a really decent job together and save a pile of money. That might be achievable. Unfortunately, that never happened for me. No news bitching about that. But I knew very early on I was never going to be able to afford to get in the property ladder here. However, as you have said, I wanted to stay living in Clontarf because it's a beautiful place to live.
It's what you know. It's what you grew up with.
Yeah, I love living here. I've always loved living here. And I knew I wasn't going to get on the property ladder, so I had to go down the renting road. Luckily enough, when about my mid-20s, when I moved out of home, I know it was a bit late, but I love free dinners and get me washing done, Adrian, you know yourself. And
typical Irish man.
Absolutely. But I find a nice little flat not too far from home. The rent was reasonable enough. I was able to live there for about 10, 11 years very happily. Unfortunately, that property was then sold, but then myself and my brother between us managed to rent an apartment in Clontarf. It wasn't cheap. We had to make a lot of sacrifices, like the social life was pretty quiet, etc. and all that. We managed to hang on in there for about 17 years. My brother went his own direction, which was, of course, his right, and I wished him well. The landlord did a deal with me on the rent, so I was able to stay for another couple of years or so, but it just became impossible. And then ultimately the landlord decided to sell up, and that was it. And I had no choice then in my early 50s, just had to move home.
Really? In your early 50s?
To my mum. Yeah, to my mum and dad. It's not an ideal situation, to be honest with you, but sometimes I believe things happen for a reason. At the time when I came home, unfortunately, my mother's health took a bad turn. So there were a lot of hospital visits for 3 or 4 years. I became known as her ambulance buddy, which I'm still called to this day. Thankfully, she's okay now. But unfortunately, my dad is now seriously ill. So, as I said, I do think things happen for a reason. It was meant to happen. You know, it's nice that I was around to help them. God knows they dug me out of a few holes over the years. So, it's not a lot for me to give them something back now. So, I'm glad it happened in that way. You know, we could debate from here to next Christmas, Adrian, about how the property market is structured in Ireland, particularly in Dublin, the rights and the wrongs. But the reality is, there's never any point.
Isn't it a little bit unfair if somebody, like I said, was born and bred in a certain part of Dublin and ends up living in Gorey or in Baileyborough in County Cavan? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
where they know nothing, they've no circle of friends. Only because they want to put a roof over their head. That sounds very unfair. I think people should be allowed to live close to where they hail from.
I agree completely. I mean, what made me laugh was, as you probably know, the government launched an affordable housing scheme a few months back, and apparently an affordable house in their opinion is about 450 grand. So apparently, if you do the maths, either yourself and your partner between you would need to be earning about 90 grand a year. Now, I'm certainly not earning that. I'm actually not earning anything at the moment because I got made redundant about 6 weeks ago. And I'm sure you and Jeremy don't earn that.
No, we don't.
No, nothing like it. But that's like the reality of the situation. It isn't fair. Absolutely, it isn't fair. But the reality is, unfortunately, life isn't fair sometimes. And
so if you end up living halfway down the country, it's just unfortunate, tough, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your own individual circumstances. Like, you're a young couple and you want to get married and have a few kids and live in a nice area. You ain't going to do it in Dublin. Jeremy's 100% correct. That's just totally impossible, particularly the way the country is at the moment. Like, there are a lot of people that are out of work now. You know,
all right, stay there for 1 second, if you can, please, Alan. 085-825-2626 is our WhatsApp number. Do you think you should have a right to stay living close to where you grew up? Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Brian.
Hi guys, I don't think I'd want to live in Dublin actually, because from a commuting perspective, I live in Navan. Sorry, Brian is my name. I live in Navan. I would get to Navan quicker from the city centre than I would to some suburb in Dublin. So I'd be happy where I am anyway. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks very much indeed. 085-825-2626 is our WhatsApp number. We're talking about whether or not people should have a right to live close to where they hail from. Now, Jay, welcome to Opinions Matter.
Good afternoon, Adrian.
Jay, you are somebody who did end up moving quite far away.
We moved down there. It's not far away. It's not far. It's only an hour to Dublin from where I live.
And where do you live?
We live in Westmeath. It's brilliant. Straight onto the motorway, straight to Dublin.
Okay, so you live in County Westmeath.
We have a better quality of life than we ever did in Dublin. We're not worried about our kids when they go out as much as we were when we were in Dublin.
And what part of Dublin did you originally live?
Well, I'm from Clondalkin.
You're from Clondalkin, okay.
Yeah.
And would you like to stay living in Clondalkin?
No, not really, no. After moving down the country and being down there so long now, we have a much better life. It's so laid back, so peaceful down there. We don't have the same worries. And we have everything we need down there, so it's not as if we're struggling for anything.
But you're still up and down to Dublin regularly?
No, but as you know what I do for a living, so it doesn't make a difference to me. I'm a long distance truck driver.
Right, so it doesn't matter what part of the country you're based in.
Yeah.
And do your kids like living? I know, for example, of a family who moved from Finglas to the depths of County Meath, and when they moved originally, the kids hated it. They absolutely hated it. And now they've kind of gotten used to it because they didn't have any choice. But they hated moving out of Finglas to the back of Beyonds in County Meath. That seems a little bit unfair, does it not?
But why is it unfair? Like, if you want to pay $2,500 to live in Dublin, pay $2,500 to live in Dublin. But then there's all your wages gone. You know, like, we're paying nowhere near that. We're paying toward that for where we're living. And we have a nice big house down there. And a much better quality of life. I mean, our neighbours are brilliant.
So for people who
down there, they're in the same position.
Okay, so for people who can't even get their heads around the idea of moving so far away down the country, where they'll know nobody and all of that, you're saying just go with it. It actually can work. So have you a new circle of friends where you live, and have your?
We have great neighbours. We have great neighbours. We have barbecues most weekends down where we are. We're in the Midlands. It's so hot down there now. You know that way, like, it's not hotter than if you're living on the coast, obviously. And our kids all just mix and mingle outside, and it's just...
And they're happy as...
Yeah, we're all from sort of the same type of areas, and we ended up down there, and just looking back at the difference that we have and the money that we're saving is, it's phenomenal.
All right, stay there for a second, Jay. 085-825-2626 is our WhatsApp number if you want to get involved in this conversation. Here's a WhatsApp voice note from Sandra.
Hi, good afternoon, guys. Great to see that you're on at 1 o'clock. I'm in a council house, and it's near my parents' house, but now that my parents are passed on, but I have sisters that are living all around me as well. I'm living in my council house for the last 15 years and I absolutely love it here. Beautiful neighbours and everything. But I asked the council, could I buy out my house? And they said, sorry, Sandra, no, because there's not enough income coming into your house. It's because I'm on social welfare. So what do you do there?
All right, Sandra, thanks very much indeed for your message. 085-825-2626 is our number. should people be entitled to live close to where they grew up? I know it's a conversation we've had before about, well, my mammy is there and I want to be there to support my mammy and all of that. And, that's a reasonable thing to ask for, is it not?
Some people are glad to get away from their mammies, aren't they?
Some maybe, yeah.
No, I do realise that when you have kids and stuff like that, it's handy to have parents there for minding and support and stuff like that. But sadly, you can't have everything. You need to be earning huge money to be able to get a mortgage for over 400 grand. You need to have a combined salary, and then you have to look at the situation. Do you and your partner want to be working 4 different jobs each, around the clock, working weekends, just so you can have that lovely 4-bedroomed house in the centre of Dublin?
Well, do you and your partner want to be commuting 2 hours each way each day, 4 hours a day, 5 days a week?
I can't imagine what was his name, Gareth, that sent in the email, having to drive up to Dublin from Gorey every day. I drove down to Gorey a couple of weeks ago. I just took a drive. My God,
it's not that.
It's a different planet down there.
Let me read it. In fact, this is what this is the conversation that we're having. Gareth sent me this message, and he says, "I don't know if you've brought up this topic before, but I'm sick to death of hearing about people moaning that they'll never own a house in Dublin. What is their obsession with wanting to live in Dublin? Of course, houses are going to be expensive. If you want to get on the property ladder, you need to move further afield. But these people want to live beside their mothers and beside where they grew up and went to school. They're living in dream world. I was born in Knocklion, and basically himself and his girlfriend have moved to Gorey in County Wexford, and they're happy as Larry," he said. Although you ask anybody who lives outside of Dublin. In fact, Jay, here's a question for you. If you had a chance to move back to Dublin, would you?
No.
That's because he's from Clondalkin.
Well, I'm talking about anyway.
I've lived all over Dublin, Jerry. I've lived in Dublin city centre. Like I've rented throughout Dublin, but I was born and reared in Dublin. No, I moved out of Dublin 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, I'm only joking about the Clondalkin thing, but it brings up a good point. Last weekend, I was down in Wicklow. We went down for the day last Sunday, lovely sunny day, and we got talking to a local in Rathnew. Is that the name of the place?
Rathnew, yeah.
And he was asking, "What are you doing?" I says, "I'm down from Dublin. I love County Wicklow. It's my favourite county, actually." And he said, "Did you ever think about buying down here?" He asked me where I live, and I told him where we live, and he said, "Jesus, if you sold your place, you could live down here." And he says, "The life down in Rathnew is absolutely..."
And it is beautiful.
So
why would you not?
Because
well, see, that's just it.
Yeah, you don't have a because.
I do have a because. Because we have a situation where my mother and my mother-in-law mind our children. They're always there to mind our children. We have aunties and uncles who live near us that can mind the children. When you're down in Rathnew or Rathdrum or Rath anywhere, you don't have family around you. You've no support. That support bubble is burst, and you're basically out on your own. No, but I'm telling you, Jay, I have a friend.
You make new friends.
Jay,
you make new friends. Creches down there, the childminder down there, there's brilliant friends down there.
Jay, people do not visit you when you live outside Dublin. I have a friend who moved to Newbridge a couple of years ago from Dublin, and he's living there, I'd say, in Newbridge about 7 years, and he's had maybe 5 visits from people down, because people won't travel. What? But people won't travel.
Well, no, I do take that point.
They're not good friends.
Yeah, but no, my own sister lives in Wexford, and I very rarely see her.
Yeah, why would you drive down?
But as people grow older, people grow apart. Families don't live in each other's pockets forever. I mean, I'm from a big family. I'm more scattered. That's just the way life is. You go where your circumstances predict.
Yeah, but my mother sometimes would ring me and she'd say, "Geez, Jeremy, I'm putting on a few rashers and eggs. Do you want to pop in?" "Oh, yeah, no problem. Sure, I'm only down the road." Now, I'm not going to drive to Wexford for my mammy to cook rashers and sausages for me.
Well, obviously, not.
All right, stay there for 1 second. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Do you think people have a right to live close to where they grew up, or should people just have to suck it up and move further away? This is a WhatsApp voice note from Jordan, who actually moved a little bit further.
Hey lads, I moved to the States, bought a house in Dallas. It is twice the size of my ma's house and a fraction of the price. You got to start looking outside of the big cities, you know.
All right, you have to look outside the big cities, although moving to Dallas is a bit extreme. Where am I going now? Ellie, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to Opinions Matter. How are you, Ellie?
I am good, you?
Good, thank you. What did you want to say on this conversation?
I was living in Kilkenny, born and raised in Kilkenny, and my partner is from Wexford.
Okay.
And because of the lockdown, we couldn't see each other. So we were seeing each other every 3 months and decided that we were going to move in together. So we looked into moving into getting a mortgage. And because I have mental health issues, we knew it was never going to happen because I can't work full time.
Right.
So we looked into renting then. And in Kilkenny, it was just not going to happen. So we ended up, I moved to Wexford. And it's been tough. None of my family are around, none of my friends, but we're together and that's kind of what matters. And the rent is exceptionally cheaper than it was in Kilkenny.
Even compared to Kilkenny?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
We were looking at a place in Kilkenny for over 1,000. And we got a place nicer in Wexford for 750.
Oh, right. Okay. That's a huge difference. All right. So for you, you're away from where you grew up, but have you started to develop a new circle? Are you happy where you are now?
I'm happy. I'm friends with some of my partner's friends, so I'm not completely alone or anything. It's hard for me to try and make friends at the moment because everything is closed. So there's no social, you can't go to the gym and make a friend. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm getting by with it.
You're getting by with it?
Yeah. It'll take a while to get used to.
So how long are you there? How long are you in Wexford?
I'm in Wexford just over 3 months.
Right, okay. So you literally moved when everything was completely closed. So, all right, so you're only there 3 months, and you could argue that you'll get there in time. You'll start to meet new people, especially when you can start going out socialising and stuff like that. I'm sure that's something you're looking forward to, is it?
It is and it isn't. I'm still afraid, of the virus, but it'll be grand.
Okay, so she's gone now, actually. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. Susie says it's about weighing up your options.
Hi, I just want to say I lived in Bray for years, and my tenancy ended back in 2018 on St. Stephen's Day, and because apparently the landlord was selling up, but what I've heard, he hasn't done so. But my point is, I find it like a lot dearer living in Gorey than I moved to Gorey, by the way. But I find it a lot dearer because it's when you think of it, like the bills and the run of the car, and then up and down to Dublin and the petrol. But I found it a lot cheaper living in Bray because I wasn't paying that much rent and the bills was included. And I was kind of getting buses everywhere, and so it's, you kind of have to weigh up your options, like if with the petrol, and if you're like living, like I have a lot of things going on up there, like the doctors and all that, and friends, and so you have to kind of weigh up your options, like if with the petrol going up and down, and if you're working as well. So I just don't know, there's two different ways of looking into it. Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks very much indeed for your message, Susie. 085 825 2626 is our number if you want to get involved in this conversation. We're talking about people wanting the right to live where they grew up. They don't want to move to like, for example...
By the way, a lot of people are taking offence to your comment about the depths of Meath, and they're asking you... No, in fairness, you said a few minutes ago about moving to the depths of Meath, and people want to know where the depths of Meath are. No, but where?
It's the far arse of Meath.
Name a town in the far arse of Meath?
Up that way.
Nobber.
Nobber will be the arse of Meath.
Yeah. Now, who wants to live in Nobber?
Nobber, no.
Even the people...
It's a great example, actually.
Even the people in Nobber don't want to live in Nobber, do they?
No.
But you could probably, if you sold your house, you could probably buy
2 houses in Nobber.
You could probably buy, But you want 2 houses in Nobber?
No, thanks, no.
Okay.
Myself and my husband live in Ballyjames-Duff in County Cavan, says this message. I'm a stay-at-home mum, but my husband works for Dublin Bus. He travels every day. He used to be a taxi driver, so he's used to travelling up and down. I love living in the countryside. I'd never live in Dublin again, says that message.
Wow.
And that's grand, but that's some drive every day.
Yeah.
Ballyjames-Duff up to Dublin to one of the Dublin bus depots.
Yeah, I mean...
And then driving around all day in a bus and then hopping back into your car to drive all the way back to Ballyjames-Duff.
Yeah, I mean, Ballyjames-Duff, it isn't even the same time zone as Dublin. Sure, it's not. They don't even use Euro. Do they use Euro in Ballyjames?
I think they do, yeah.
Speaking about I've got an interest now in Rathnew, County Wicklow, after this conversation, and I was looking. I don't mention prices or anything like that, but I was... I know how much we'd get for our place if we were to sell it tomorrow, yeah? And I'm after looking up, if we were to sell our place tomorrow, we could buy a 3-bedroomed... I mean, Jesus, look at that.
That's lovely, yeah. That's lovely.
We could buy a 3-bedroomed house in Rathnew and have a fair few quid left over from the sale.
Yeah, that'd be grand.
Thank you very much.
Right, see you. But in fact, my own daughter is just after texting me, and herself
she must be looking for money, is she?
No, but herself and her boyfriend are buying a place at the minute, yeah, and it's going to be in Arklow. Now, Laura grew up and lived all her life in Bray.
By the way, Laura, I just want to tell you, your dad ain't going to be visiting you as soon as you move to Arklow. You won't get him past... Where's the furthest you go?
I will be
Greystones.
I will visit her, I will.
Yeah.
But they've resigned themselves to the fact that, look, if they want to get on the property ladder, it's going to have to be Arklow for them.
When I heard...
We'll see you in 2024, Laura.
Did they ask you for any money towards the deposit or anything?
No. I have no washer.
What?
I don't even have a job.
Yeah, you keep telling that one. Laura, I have to say, I'm very proud of the fact that you've done she has her head screwed on, doesn't she?
She does, yeah.
At her age, I mean, when I was her age, I just wanted to spend all my money on holidays and fancy... Remember I used to wear like DKNY shirts when I was her age? I'd go to Brown Thomas and spend 150 grand or 150 quid on a DKNY shirt. That's why I ended up living at home until I was about 40. But fair play to her. She has her head screwed on.
100%.
And she could sit at home in Bray, where she's from, and mope every day and moan and bitch and say, I want to be able to afford to live in Bray. But she's a realist and she's a practical person. And Laura, I will come to your housewarming. Where is it again?
You're not invited.
Where is it?
Arklow.
What county is that in?
Wicklow.
How far of a drive is that?
It's not. It's an hour.
Did you not say Arklow was a kip to me a few weeks ago?
It used to be. It's a beautiful place now.
It
is. It used to be years ago it was a kip.
No, years ago it was a lovely place.
No, it wasn't. It was never lovely. But it's a nice place now.
So
anyway,
how often will you visit her every year when she moves in?
Every year. 085 825 2626 is our WhatsApp number. We'd like to get you involved in this conversation about people having the right to live where they want to live. Caroline, welcome to Opinions Matter, Caroline.
Hi, Adrian. Hi, Jeremy.
Hey, Caroline.
Now, Caroline, what's your view on this? Should people be allowed to live close to where they grew up?
Yeah, I get why people would want to live closer to where they grew up, but I was born and reared in Dublin. I lived in Singles for half my life, but I'm 20 odd years out of Dublin now, so I'm kind of well used to the countryside. And like the way I look at it is, wherever I live in Belgium and stuff, it's only an hour's drive down the M3. I don't be in Dublin very often now, but my husband works in Dublin every day. But he's used to travelling because he was a taxi driver for years. So he's used to travelling up and down for the journey, you know what I mean?
And do you like it where you are?
Yeah, I do actually like where I live in, because the school is only a 5-minute walk, the secondary school and the primary school. Like, you have a little town itself. We're only 55 minutes away from Blanchardstown. I go shop there now. We're 40 minutes from Navan. So, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so
I actually did, but it did take me a long time to settle up here.
So tell me the name of the nearest town to you.
Well, we have Navan, and then we have Blanchardstown.
Okay, so Navan,
no problem.
Navan is the closest to where you are.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm happy where I'm living, but I do get why people would want to live closer. In Dublin.
I mean, Navan is Navan's a grand old town, but
It is, and my mother lives in Navan now as well. And
All
she
right,
loves
so
it.
all right, well then you do have that closeness then still.
Yeah, but I do get why people would want to live in Dublin. I get it, and like it is very hard for young people to even like get a mortgage or even get rent, and like it's just extortionate. Like they're being robbed, literally. Do you know what I mean? It's disgraceful what's going on. And like,
would you ever like to live in Dublin again?
My partner would like to live in Dublin again. And if I was to move,
and why is that? Is that because of the drive, or is it because he misses friends and family?
It's a bit of both, I think, for him. I would live closer to Dublin, but I won't live in Dublin. But I'm thinking as well for the future of my kids, if they want to go to college or university, they're going to have to go to Dublin to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think there's a university in Navan. Sure, there isn't.
No, and the opportunities are in Dublin. Do you know what I mean? So these are all things that we have to think about and probably look at.
And do you think in time then, because I know I've spoken to a lot of people that live, Navan direction or even further, and they would aspire to eventually move back to Dublin.
Yeah, I would. Well, I wouldn't move back to Dublin now, but I would move closer to it. Like I would move close just outside, longer a commuter belt, an easy commuter belt even just to get in and out. Like that's where I've moved to. But like I have to win the lotto to do that. So I have to keep playing and wishing for the lotto to be won.
Yeah, we can all dream of that as well. But all right, it's been great talking to you, Caroline. Thanks very much indeed for your call.